our thug in chief, the cartoon dictator.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Sorry for the delay. We just couldn't get our connection up with Substack, but I think we've got it now. Substack just refused to connect to our server, but I think I saw it on the cell phone. Now, I don't know if it's on the network yet, but we have it, I think, on now. Well, it was on a few minutes ago that I saw. Let's hope that it continues. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great program for you today. How's everybody doing? I trust all's doing fine. Yes, I think I see it on the network as well. Anyway, folks, we got a great show for you today. An important, very, very important show for you today. I am going to start with the privatization of what's going on a whole lot of times with the privatization of our resources. And this is important. And I think we have to start looking at this at places that we could possibly be going. Let me kind of shut this thing here down. All right. So here we go. Before I get started, let me just welcome folks. Welcome aboard. AVQ, welcome from Brooklyn, New York. We also have, that's Michael Rudden. We also have Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. We have Yvette Avery Hart from Atlanta, Georgia. Jacqueline Campisi in from Katy, Texas. Jacqueline, isn't today the first day that teachers show up to get their rooms together? I took my daughter a whole bunch of supplies to her room, her science room with all the lab stuff and all of that this morning, first thing in the morning. Let me know, when do you guys get started? I think you're in the Katy School District, maybe. Paul Fleming, welcome aboard. Mary Wood from, that is California, Long Beach, California. Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. We also have Jay Ray from Houston, Texas. Eric A's from Atascocita, Kingwood. We have Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. And we have Jay Curtis, Peter Spada, PhD, Adam W., Gwen Plummer, Kathy Evans, Bob Darren. Adam W. says, Adam from near Pittsburgh, PA. Tori Foot. Remember, I missed the first few dozen of the Substack, and we also had some Substack problems getting started today. Michael Radin says, New York Times, Treasury Secretary says Trump accounts could pave way to privatize Social Security. I covered that yesterday, my dear brother. Treasury Secretary Scott Bissett, I even did a video about that, so check it out. Canary Mead chart, beautiful bill, would cause energy bills to go up in every state. Legislation just passed by the Senate would undo clean energy tax credits, slowing the addition of new power to the grid and saddling customers with rising costs. Energy prices are already up 6% since Trump took office. We don't look. It will get worse. NERA analysis shows that the repealing green energy tax credits will raise electricity prices by 30% in 4 years. Energy prices also affect everything you buy, not just your own electricity as corporations pass down costs. Yeah, right. After you have the investment cost of wind energy, the wind is free. The wind is free. After the battery back store and all of that, the wind is free. Right? The same thing with solar energy. And you say, well, what about replacement costs? Notice I said after the capital cost, it's all free because the sun shines and the wind blows. I tell you, the constancy of the ineptitude gets to me. And Fleming is pointing out something that Trump and his people did. All the impeachment information has been removed from the Smithsonian the Smithsonian Museum, all of it. And you know what they use as excuse? They stopped they stopped talking about the presidency in 2008. Really? Look, we are in a place now where Democrats, when I say Democrats, I mean people that love democracy, people that love independence, people that love freedom. It is time for us to execute now. We're having a rally here in Kingwood and in many other parts of Houston this weekend, and I hope people go there. Campisi said today teachers in KD started, but if you completed flex hours, you start Monday the 4th. Ah, so you completed your flex hours. You're a smart woman, Jacqueline. Hey, are you not going to be able to see us anymore when you go back to work? Don't forget, we're on Substack, so you can have your cell phone while you have your kids doing their little work, and we can have a tease where you say, Egberto, these kids are doing great because I'm a great teacher. We are the ones who move we move knowledge forward. You know that. My daughter's out there packing the walls and doing all the stuff. My wife had to go buy her a special chair because the chair that they have in the labs won't work for her because of her disability. So my wife went out there to get her a new chair that wouldn't cause her to fall, or that we hope wouldn't cause her to fall as she teaches her class. All right. Let's see. I want to play the first video early. This one is about Tennessee Representative Jones. I met this guy in I think it was Pittsburgh at the Netroots in Pittsburgh. But I say it all in that. So let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it on the other side. If you want to know the dangers of privatization, a good example is what occurred recently in Nashville, Tennessee, where Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones attempted to go into a public meeting with a Musk company, a tunnel boring company that is building a tunnel between downtown Nashville and the airport, and then eventually building what's called the Music City Loop, which will connect the convention centers and the airport and some other entities. Okay, a private sector building public works and owned by the private sector, the tunnel company that Musk has. And what is that tunnel going to do? It's going to be filled with Teslas driving people around to these different locations. That's what that's what it's supposed to do, right? Of course, that likely will be in direct competition with public buses, etc., etc. But what they've done is capitalize on these services, given full authority to that particular company. I want you to see when it comes to oversight, Justin Jones, a Tennessee state representative, decide, I want to understand what this is all about, what you guys are going to do, etc. Because after all, this tunnel is going to be built in my city that I was elected to, a part of that city I was elected to represent. It is also going to be, anybody in Nashville, they should have their stakeholders in this whole issue. And then the other thing about it is, given transportation, the authority to transport people in your city, given full authority to some private company, is pretty much a sellout. Let's go ahead and just show you how they handle Justin Jones, Representative Justin Jones, and how he took care of himself, and just pointing out some of the dangers in this stuff. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
On Monday, Tennessee's governor announced the construction of a new tunnel connecting Nashville's airport to the city. It will be privately funded by Elon Musk's Boring Company. Democratic lawmakers in the state opposed that deal. In video captured by Tennessee Holler, one of those Democratic lawmakers, Justin Jones, was blocked from attending the event.
Is this a part of the state of Tennessee?
I understand what you're saying. It is definitely. Can you hold on for just 1 second?
I'm here in my oversight capacity.
I know. I understand.
I was elected to represent the people, 75,000 people who live on Murfreesboro Pike, who live around the airport.
I'm responsible for the list, and I'm just trying to be respectful to my role. That's all. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you.
As a representative of this district, are you saying that I cannot go to this event?
No, I'm not saying it has to do with you being a representative. I'm just saying I just need to check the list and make sure. I'm not being rude. I want you to understand. I know who you are, and I respect you. I've talked to you before. We've met.
I have not met you, sir.
Tell me your last name.
This is a representative who doesn't even live in the district. This is one of the state senators who does not live in this district. So if you allow somebody from Knoxville to come and not a representative of Nashville, who this airport is in my district, and that is...
I hear what you're saying. I understand.
She says she's not on the list.
Just make sure.
No, I've got the list.
And my husband's with me.
Yes, I know. Yes, I'll put you a wristband there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just, excuse me, sir.
I'm a lawmaker just like this lawmaker here.
It's a state of Tennessee TDOT event.
Yeah, and I'm a state representative.
It is a state of Tennessee event.
So we just heard that this is a state of Tennessee TDOT
Oh, we did hear that.
TDOT is the Tennessee Department of Transportation. So again, I'm here in my oversight capacity. We just heard that this is...
She just said it's a state of Tennessee event. So you're keeping a state representative out of a state of Tennessee event?
This is not a state.
Wait, she just said it was.
But we were just told this is a state of Tennessee event from the airport authority.
She said it. I have it on camera.
So now we have proof. So now we have a basis to enter in our oversight capacity as a lawmaker for this district where this airport is and where this project's going to be constructed.
So this is a private.
I've never been told as a state lawmaker that I cannot go to a state announced event where other lawmakers were allowed to attend. Have you ever had to keep lawmakers out before?
I have not.
Okay. I know you're doing your job.
Now, many people are going to say, well, you know, if Elon Musk wants to use this money to create a street, etc., in Nashville to transport in between whatever, they should be able to do it. No. If Musk wants to build a tunnel system that he's going to control, a tunnel system that he's going to make money off of, then he should purchase the darn land. Now, I'm not into that kind of land ownership, but okay, he should under our system, he should purchase the darn land and take all the risks involved in this tunneling system that he wants and this music loop that he wants to create around the city to transport people in Teslas in a 10-mile loop. Put all you be the person who's responsible for absolutely every investment in that. But no, that's not what's happening. We continue to have these representatives, these Congress, these right-wing politicians that sell our souls to private corporations. I mean, if you take a look at space right now, we have SpaceX, we have Boeing that's trying to get some stuff in the air, but again, completely taking full control away from NASA. And now NASA is fully dependent on SpaceX, Boeing, and a couple of other contractors. Unlike the days when I worked for NASA, where we designed, we created the specs, we go out there and tell them, all right, this is what we want. You now build it to these specs, and then all these companies become interchangeable, because again, we design what's going to happen, and if we don't design it, we contract to design it to our specifications, not that you come out with something and tell us this is what we're going to use. So therefore, we are in control of the entire entity. And if we can't get a private sector company to build it, we can also go ahead and hire our own engineers, as many times NASA does. But again, when you go ahead and turn over your infrastructure, when you turn over your knowledge base to the private sector, they then own you. You're creating an autocratic government from a representative democracy. Remember, once a corporations control an entity, what happened to Jones in this example here, Justin Jones? They can tell you are coming in or not. You can see what we're doing or not. Because at that point, you have ceded control to the corporate state. People always ask me, why are you so anti-corporation? I'm not anti-corporation at all. I'm just pro-people. And corporations are just one piece of our economic system. It should not be the prevalent piece of the economic system. our government, we the people, define what we want an economic system to look like. We the people, the government, decides what kind of a socialized system we want. What part of it we're going to make it a free enterprise system? What part of it we're going to make it a more social system? What part of it we're going to make? We define that. We the people define that. Once you turn over your system to a Boeing, a Musk, a Lockheed, or any one of these guys, and they run it, at that point, you are supporting a group of autocrats, because there's nothing democratic about a corporation. By design, a corporation is not democratic. The recent god of corporations, Milton Friedman, specifies that your sole purpose of the executive of a corporation is to promote the well-being, to promote the profits of the shareholders. That's your sole purpose. You have no other obligation. You don't have social obligations. You don't have any moral obligations. Your sole obligation is to the shareholder. And that Americans continue to buy into the fallacy that corporations are more efficient than government. It's the biggest lie out there that needs to be squelched. Mathematically speaking, it is impossible. I am speaking absolutist and mathematically. Mathematically speaking, it is impossible for a private corporation or any corporation to be more efficient than the government, because they have more stakeholders that must be paid. The government has no stakeholders that need to be paid, other than, of course, the workers, etc. But and look, I don't have a problem in having corporations building cars, having corporations having grocery stores, pizza shops, all these other things. But in things that are essential to us all, it is impossible for the private sector to be less expensive, to be more efficient than government. And we see it every day. Every time we turn over any public sector item to corporations, you pay. Medicare Advantage, you pay. What you pay with? Your life. Privatization of Social Security would be the same thing. Privatization of our highways. You're now paying two taxes. You're paying the taxes that give the fairway to these corporations who build these private highways for tolls. Again, we are going to have to stop moving our tax base from the efficient government to the inefficient corporations. Because remember, everything that government would do to build a road, that corporation is going to do. Every design necessities, everything that the government's going to do, that private sector corporation is going to. There's one difference, and the only difference is that within that same cost structure, shareholders must be paid. Executives must receive their bonuses. And in the case of things that need advertising, all those costs have to be included in there. It's a mathematical impossibility. And that we have allowed ourselves to be brainwashed via the Powell memo and all these other, and having talking heads talk about the efficiency of the private sector is hogwash. If I am a government manager and you are a corporate manager, and we have the same constraints, the only difference is that this corporate manager has to ensure that those shareholders are paid. This government manager doesn't. He can say, you know what? I can have these people with a higher salary because I don't have to pay the shareholders who are sitting, sipping tea at their pools. Learn the way our economy really works and not the way they want you to believe it works, so that they can continue to rip you off as they have decade after decade, century after century. That is the thing, folks. That is the issue. Corporations, it is mathematically impossible for corporations to be more efficient than the government in every area. I'm not saying I want government to control every area. I don't. I want the vitality of everybody doing different things. But things that are crucial, the private sector should not be your main constraint. It must be we, the people. Nosotros, todos. Ray Brackens is on the phone. Come on in, Ray. What's up?
Yeah, you said a good bit in there, and I want to kind of, bring it to relevancy in my world. And one way I kind of could see how that would play out, let's say I was a big movie fan, So one way I always saw that play out is by watching the movie RoboCop. Not the one that just came out. I'm talking about the old 1998
I remember that one
RoboCop.
well. Oh, yes.
And when you watch it, when you really pay attention to it, you look at the satire of it is basically, you look at the commercials, you look at the healthcare system, you look at how the private sector took over the police so that they could dismantle it. And basically that was their opportunity to say, when the crime overtakes the city of Detroit, we're going to create this oasis called Delta City. And everybody can, and I remember when the mayor of Detroit went to the expo and he said, how are people supposed to live there? You don't even know if it's affordable. And he said, anybody, and the CEO said, anybody can be a resident here and own a piece of the stock. And I thought about that, and that sounds so much like the world we're living in right now. It's like the corporate class is convinced that anybody who doesn't have the means to own a piece of the property, meaning the life that we own, doesn't deserve to be there. And it's so much on point. I think it was a very woke movie.
Let me tell you, there are so many woke movies that in the past, I don't see a lot of them. Well, maybe it's because I don't watch a lot of movies anymore because I'm so damn busy. But let me tell you, I'm glad that you brought that up. But there are a lot of movies to watch, my dear brother. There is Trading Places, where Eddie Murphy was picked up as being just a bomb on the street. They put a little bit of capitalist techniques in his head. He goes to the stock market and makes a killing. A lot of people look at that movie and think it was
the big club.
Right. They thought it was a joke. Remember something that you hear me talk about all of the times on this program. If you are invited into the club, anybody can be invited into the club. Once you are invited into the club, it doesn't take a lot to exist in the club because the intellect in this country comes from the folks who don't make a lot of money. We have a teacher that is with us daily in this chat. She is important. She moves knowledge forward. That stockbroker doesn't do a damn thing. They move paper around, but they don't have any intelligence per se that actually develop software, that sweep floors to keep things clean. I mean, the people who perform in this country, from the person who picks up my garbage to my doctor, my engineer. Well, I'm an engineer, but you get what I'm saying. The people that have value in this society are the ones that are not paid the most, and the people with the least value in society are the ones that are reaping merits. Look, I don't want to hit on movie stars too hard because, again, we like to watch them, etc. But I'm sorry, picking up a paper every day or every few days a year to memorize a script, that garners them, based on how our economic system works, millions of dollars. But again, I go back to our teacher in the chat. She gets up every morning. You give her 23 to 30 of your kids every day. And she molds those kids' minds to the next level. And they give her $65,000 to $90,000 a year, $100,000 if she's lucky. But that stockbroker that may stay home until 9 or 10 and take his helicopter to work, produce nothing, simply trade stocks based on the intellect of every other person on this planet. The AI gurus whose intellect is your intellect. The AI gurus are everybody listening to me on Substack, everybody listening to me on YouTube, everybody listening to me on everything that you're typing right now in that chat, everything that you are watching and talking about, all of that is aspirated into a data set by the artificial intelligence. And then somebody makes money because they realize, well, you know what? People who are teachers, because they see Campisi in my chat and she's addressed as a teacher, that will go into a data set that goes ahead and say, teachers have this kind of things. Teachers also watch progressive news sets. All this just by her being in that chat. There are a lot of parameters that are picked up on her, what's known in this terminology as signals. So that when you ask AI a question, AI goes through. Remember, they talk about how much energy AI uses because of how much computational power it uses. They go out there and they make logistic maps of all of you that are listening to me right now. And they figure out, well, if Adam W comes into this particular type of chat every day and listens to it, and the commentary he makes are generally progressive, then he attach all those signals to it. And when you ask AI a question, it goes ahead and it does a whole lot of calculations based on those realities, and it comes out with a coherent result. But it's all you. It's not them. It's you who have produced the knowledge. Anything else before I go to the next video, my brother?
I remember a line from Trading Places, and I want people to leave this on their heart. When he brought the payroll to him, he said, "We're sure paying a lot of these people an awful lot of money." What's his name? Dan Aykroyd's character quipped, "You can't get around the old minimum wage." So that's what they think about us.
Right. But you know, the other thing that they want you to believe is that they love you. They want you to believe that. I tell you what, let me let you go, Brother Ray, and because I got another video, but I have a very short soliloquy I want to say here. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, let me tell you something about any of you. There are corporations that do good things. Costco treats its employees well, but they get a benefit from treating their employees well, something that Walmart should learn. Okay? There are many companies that will treat their employees well, but it is and will always be transactional. A corporation is neither good or bad. A corporation is just that. A corporation that is designed to make a profit for shareholders. In other words, it is designed to make a profit for people who own a piece of that corporation in the form of stocks. That's it. It cannot get any simpler than that. Okay? So therefore, when we the people support policies for corporations, we are, and not policies that are humane. In other words, when we ask the first question, whenever government starts to make policies, too many people say the following: how will that affect the corporation? Before they ask, how will that affect people? And the reason they ask, how will that affect the corporation, is because the corporation has brainwashed most of us into believing that if the corporation does well, the people do well. That's false. The sole purpose of the corporation, again, is to make a profit for the shareholder. Nothing more, nothing less. So therefore, it is incumbent on us always to look about what is humane for us. We don't care what it costs the cost will be to the corporation. We don't care at all. It will all be mangled into the pricing of whatever they sell. And if they cannot sell it at a price we are willing to buy it for, they will go out of business justifiably. But what we want to do always is to create a humane society. A humane society that think people first, humanity first, my child first, my environment first, all the things that make our living, as the Constitution would say, for the general welfare. Now, after we've done that, we can then consider how best to make things that corporations that have value can exist. But again, once you go down the thread where you are looking out for that false entity has its own, not social security, but TNN number. That false entity has a lot of human behaviors, just that it is more human than you. That corporation can spend more money electing people than you as an individual can. That corporation was given legal powers that you don't have. So how possibly could that thing called a corporation, ultimately be considered good or better than you are? It cannot, it must not, and it is important that we as American citizens understands how all these things work. Because absent understanding how these things work, we continue to repeat the problems that we have. We completely, we fall under the domain of an autocracy. And by the way, every single corporation is an autocracy. America, the government, is we the people. If something happens we don't like, we can kick them out. And people say, well, there are a lot of regulators, etc., that aren't voted on. No, we can vote people in that will take the regulators that need to be taken out. Don't be fooled by the rhetoric. People first. There's nothing good inherently about any corporations. And by that I mean any corporation. Please, folks, let's go ahead and deprogram ourselves from what we have learned from our births in this country. It took me a while to learn it, but meeting very smart people and learning and opening my mind to understand that everyone has the possibility of being indoctrinated, and that we have been indoctrinated our entire lives as capitalist Americans. We were indoctrinated to make sure that all our resources benefited the few by design. Our economic system is working as designed. It's hard to accept, but once you free your mind to accept the reality of who we are and what we produce, it becomes so much easier to know what we have to do to move forward. And that's why I have this program. That's why I gave up on my own companies, and they were, and not to pat myself on the back, look it up. My companies have been very, very successful. But now I'm doing this, which I find not economically successful. But man, when you're doing the right thing and when you know that you're helping human beings, it makes a huge difference. All right, let's go to our last video of the day. Let's go to the last video of the day. Para ver, here we go. Our thug in chief, the cartoon dictator, the convicted felon, did yet something interesting today. The employment report didn't only come out terribly weak, but the employment reports for the last 2 months that we thought were pretty good were actually pretty bad. In fact, one of the months only had like 19K people that actually got jobs. But we knew this. You can't be doing what Trump is doing to the economy. You can't add uncertainty. You can't add pilferage. You can't add any of these things to an economy and think everybody's going to be happy and invest in an economy and do all the things necessary to have a healthy economy. Only a sycophant who doesn't want to think critically could possibly believe that. Well, I tell you what, listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
And right after today's weaker than expected job report was released, showing U.S. job growth has slowed to a near halt. The tone from the White House this hour is entirely different, with President Trump announcing he has fired the official in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the office that actually released those numbers, claiming without evidence that she, quote, manipulated the numbers and, quote, faked the job numbers before the election to try and boost Kamala Harris's chances of victory.
This is offensive in the extreme. When we traffic in economic circles, I mean, I speak with chief economists, folks at BLS, Federal Reserve folks, Treasury folks all day, every day, and I have for 15 years now. What is happening here is about the worst case scenario that you could envision. Our data collection, our statisticians, our professors, the economists at all these agencies are the envy of the world in terms of their data collection. And it really recalls to me Trump's first term when he started telegraphing that he felt like democracy was a disadvantage versus President Xi's situation and a communist governing system, wherein he can famously manipulate the data coming out of China.
So, Ed, respond to that and also give us a sense of what you think this would do to markets today.
I think my initial reaction is this is what cartoon dictators do. If you don't like the data, you say that the data is lying, you blame the numbers. And I'm amazed at how shameless all of this is. And it is true. It rings true of what happens in China, where you have an authoritarian regime where if economists speak out and say that there's anything wrong going on with the economy, suddenly the economist disappears and we don't know what happened to them. And so I don't want to start getting alarmist, but it is exactly what you would imagine a dictator in a Marvel movie would start to do.
Susan, let's bring you in here on just the broader picture. Donald Trump firing officials is nothing new, but let's just remind our viewers that J.D. Vance, as a senator, voted to confirm this Commissioner of Labor Statistics. So what does all of this say to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think petty dictator is right. And, we used to have a saying, you're in trouble when you start lying to yourself and believing it. Donald Trump is trying to take that to the next level, which is not only to lie to himself and his followers, but to actually embed that principle into the U.S. government. I think you need to see it in the context of a broader kind of war on expertise that has been playing out in this second Trump term. It's, I think, very consistent with going to war with research scientists at our universities on the pretext of enforcing Trump's particular political ideology. I think that it's not only resonant of what you've seen coming out of China, but I lived and worked for 4 years as a correspondent in the former Soviet Union. They literally didn't have a census for decades in the Soviet Union because they didn't want to know the results. You certainly couldn't trust the economic data coming out of the Soviet Union. That's part of the reason why the transition after the collapse of the communist system was so traumatic, because nobody really understood how that economy had worked in the first place. And again, it's so consistent with a broader war on truth that we have seen unfolding in our politics over the last 10 years. The difference this time is that Donald Trump isn't even bothering to hide it, to cover it up. There's literally minutes elapsed between his social media posting attacking this Bureau of Labor Statistics for a report he didn't like and actually moving to fire the director of it. So again, for all those people who have retained this conviction, no longer very much supported, in fact, that Donald Trump is just a blowhard whose actions don't matter, there is a direct connection as we could possibly imagine between the rhetoric right now and very, very disruptive actions.
Look, it was not at all difficult to understand that this had to occur. The data had to catch up with the ineptitude of this president. The data had to catch up with what he's doing, and it will continue to catch up, and it will get worse. Now, they are trying, or they're hoping that their right-wing media, that the mainstream media, first of all, the mainstream media has already, for all practical purposes, capitulated. That we have this BLS report and the firings, and we have these people on MSNBC and CNN that are stating these things currently. It's one thing, but let's see how long they continue to hammer into the American people that it only gets worse from here, so that the American people can make the right decision to change things around. Only independent media can we trust really to continue to put the hammer on these people? Look, what Donald Trump is doing to the economy is something that has to be placed on the forefront over and again. One of the reasons I left Epstein for the most part is because the problem, Epstein is a distraction. It's salacious, and people are going to forget about all the real problems we have if we stick with that. So no, we must stay on the destruction of the fabric of our economy that Trump is doing. Already, economy has a whole lot of problems, right? Capitalism simply, and especially end stage capitalism, just has to eat its own. And that's what we're doing. We have to mitigate it. We have to mitigate it. The revised numbers, 19K in May, 14K in June. Those are pathetic numbers in the BLS report. Pathetic numbers. But we knew this had to happen. So what do we have to do, people? We can complain and complain and complain and complain. Right now, what we have to do is listen, learn, organize, and execute, beginning in November by winning big in Virginia, winning big in New Jersey, and then when we get to 2026, winning big. But first, in Democratic primaries, you have got to elect progressives. You have got to elect progressives in the Democratic primaries so that the people that are going to represent us in Congress cannot be or will not be purchased by the corporatocracy. Because right now they know that Donald Trump is going to be dirt in 2026. They know he's going to be dirt. And even with cheating, even with redistricting, even with paying folks off, he's going to be dirt with the cheating, with all the things that they have planned. But what's going to happen is the corporatocracy will start investing in neoliberal Democrats. And they will make just like how they're attacking Mandami right now, they will be attacking every single progressive Democrat. But we have got to elect progressive Democrats and then come out strong for them in November of 2026. It is imperative, folks. This country is in your hands. You can determine if you have an autocracy with a horrendous economy, or you can have a true democracy with a great economy. With the base of this economy was already laid. Biden did a fairly good job in laying the base of the economy. We have to reinstitute these Biden policies and go beyond, way beyond Biden's policy to give us Medicare for all, to give us child care, to give us support for our kids, to give us all these policies that real, humane, progressive people really are wanting to provide. It's there for you to choose. You've been choosing and believing the wrong people. Independent media, folks, we are telling you the truth. Those guys work for the corporations. They won't harm the hand that feeds them. And that is what you have to understand. Look, these guys aren't bad people. I have relationships with several folks at, let's say, MSNBC, a couple at CNN, etc. And these are good people. These are good. Most of these reporters, even at Fox News, these are people that went to school. They follow the journalistic methodologies that they learn in school. And by the way, the journalistic methodologies that they've learned in school is no longer valid. Okay, and let me explain what I mean by that. If I have two senators, a Republican senator and a Democratic senator, what the journalist does is he lets the Republican senator say his piece and let the Democratic senator answer that, and they go back and forth. Most of the times, the Democrat would be lousy in this points, and I think that generally is by design because they don't. I mean, I think that's by design. But here's the thing: if you look at my interviews, when I want to challenge somebody, I don't care who the hell it is, a Democrat, Republican, or whatever, I will challenge him. You know, the interview that I did with he's my friend. He was an activist with us in the streets. John, the representative that I interviewed, and I looked at him straight up and said, "These are the things that we need to do." As a congressman, there's another congresswoman here in town that she has pretty much she turned not turned, but she cowered in a few things, and we went directly to her and spoke to her as well. Look, right now, it is in our hands, and I so mean this. I so have faith that, and I don't want to say faith, I don't like the word faith. Not I believe. I know if I do my job correctly, and I know if others doing in the independent media what I am doing as well, what we are doing is what I should say. Get the I out of there. I know that with your help, you sharing stuff and letting other people know as you pick up things, as you do your critical thinking to discern, you know what those independent media guys are saying is actually correct. As we do that, progression, geometric progression will allow us to reach enough people that we make a difference. And it has been done before. Unfortunately, it was squandered. Obama did and used that method with Obama for America in 2008. And it scared them. It scared the plutocracy. Obama's organization in 2008 is what was a perfect thing. That's why somebody that should not have been president in 2008 got elected. Think about it. America wasn't ready for an Obama in 2008, but what he did is he created the organization that went above and beyond and spoke to people flesh to flesh, blood to blood. These people were activated, and it scared the plutocracy. As soon as Obama was elected and sat in that chair, Obama for America was no more. And it became Organizing for America. And Organizing for America was no Obama for America. Obama for America was all inclusive, out there teaching things beyond the box. It was teaching things, instructing, informing. And unfortunately, they allowed it to capitulate. And the reason why, folks, is because it scared the plutocracy. And Obama let it slide. I think that was his biggest mistake. Just like Trump is using MAGA right now. But you see, the thing about it is the MAGA methodology serves the plutocracy fine, serves the oligarchy fine, serves the corporations fine. So it's okay. Donald Trump keeps his base with MAGA. All these sycophants that are going for Donald Trump is allowed to be maintained. But Obama for America. And I'm not talking, we're using the name Obama for America, but I was at the inception of that movement. And man, was that a powerful movement. That was a powerful movement. And with independent media and these other forms, it is something that we must, folks, that we must recreate. Not in a centralized manner in the way Obama did it, even though that worked perfectly, but decentralized centralization. Decentralized centralization. And I'll talk about that some other time when I have some time. But we have to get together and work, but we have to keep these platforms going. That is how it's going to happen. Because right now we're fighting the media, which is capitulating. The Ivy League universities have started to capitulate. Even Columbia, Brown, all of them are starting to capitulate to the Trump administration. All right, Adam says, honestly, though, they are no different when the college students that rage against the machine in the 1960s and quickly forgot everything they claimed to believe in the moment that first six-figure job offer came their way. But not all of them are like that at MW. Let me tell you, and I'll be very frank with you. And for the people who are close to me that comes to my chat every day, I gave up all that crap. And I gave up, I've been doing this 12 years unpaid and haven't broken even yet. There are many of us who are so taken with this project that we know it's something that needs to be done. So a lot of those people, yeah, you're right, took those six-figure jobs, but a lot of them didn't as well. And what happened with them is that they were ostracized. When I gave up my company to some extent, with some folks, I was ostracized, and it hurts. It really hurts. I mean, you still have to make a living somehow, right? And 12 years of doing this draws you completely out of the picture. Ernie Boxall is back with us. Ernie, I did a video specifically about your chat message, and the reason I did it is because of the level of hate that you displayed in the message, my dear brother. But let me just tell you something, brother. The fact that Obama has been destroyed by the president. I don't know exactly what the hell you mean by that this time, my dear brother. Okay, so here is the deal. Here is the deal. When you reach hate like Boxall does, it is time to. Those are the ones that you simply ignore, and you hope, and he won't hear from me again. But you hope that he continues to come, or people like them continue to come and learn, and that even though they will be too conceited or too proud to accept that they're wrong, like many of our MAGA folks, they're either mentally ill or their proudness prevent them from acknowledging that they're wrong. Again, you leave them alone. Maybe something personal will happen to them that changes their behavior. Anyway, folks, look, I got to get out of here. But before I get out of here, I want to ask you all to support the program. We invest a lot in the program to get this out. It is an important task. So I want to ask you to please, to support this program. The easiest way to support this program is to become a subscriber to our newsletter. And how can you become a subscriber to our newsletter? You simply need to go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. If you go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, please just go ahead and become a paid subscribers. We need a lot. We need a lot more. We need about 580 more to get to the next level, somewhere around there. And you can help us do that. If you can help us do that, we can start not only taking care of business, but actually maybe getting some help to help us promote the message even more. So again, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter is the way to help us. Now, I just created a new on a new platform via Coffee. For those of you who don't want to subscribe, some of you don't want to subscribe to newsletters. There's another way that you can support us, and that is, buy us a coffee, a big coffee, a small coffee, or whatever you can or willing to do. And that is, let me find the link. I should have that link up and ready, but you know me. There's so much happening, sometimes you forget. All right, let me put that link in there. Come on, Egberto, find that link quickly. You can also do the buy me a coffee link right here. And I'm putting that in the link for those who want to be of assistance to the project. This project is not something that we can let go. I don't think we realize the dire straits we're in. Like I've mentioned before, we've been in similar places before. The Red Scare, also in '55 during the after Reconstruction, or just before the Civil War, and just at the end of the false end of Reconstruction. We've been here before, but I don't know. You should. I am not going to answer that one. There's a comment in the chat that from CSEC that I just read, and I just had to shake my head. I just had to shake. Sorry about that, guys. I got distracted for a little bit here. All right. Again, please support the program. You can support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I'll put that in the chat one more time. Let's see. Put that in the chat one more time. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Or you can go ahead and provide it through buy me a coffee kind of a deal. That'll work as well. I got to get out of here. I want to tell you, love you all, even though Vauxhall continues to say he's not my brother. Actually, though, Mr. Vauxhall, you are my brother. I tell you something, brother. Because the policies that I support, whether you like it or not, you should hope your lucky stars that they are realized, because you need it likely more than anybody else that's listening to this program right now. But you're too proud to accept that. Anyway, folks, I love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Welcome to